And welcome. David Levin here, Raising Your Game Today. This is Tuesday, so we're talking about the mental game of sports and competition. Fridays are for the rest of our lives. This week, I want to talk about Iga Swiatek. I think I'm saying that right, Swiatek. Iga is one of the top tennis players in the world, 23 years old, from Poland. Been a top player since she was 19 or 20. Was hugely dominant in 2022 and 23. Had a streak of, 37 matches, won in a row. She was ranked number one for quite a while. I remember for a while there, she was just winning all the time. I guess that was during that streak. But every week, every piece of news, oh, okay, Iga won again. It was like that same season, I think, with Max Verstappen in Formula One. He's just so dominant. It was almost taking the fun out of it. This season, however, has not been like that for her. In fact, articles are starting to be written. Questions are being asked. What's wrong with her? Why is she struggling with her mental game? She used to be famous for getting stronger the more pressure there was, always raising her game to meet the moment. Now she seems to be faltering a bit under pressure. She's been in the quarterfinals 5 times this year, but not made any finals yet. So what's going on with Iga? Of course, we really have no idea. It doesn't seem to me that uncommon for a player's game to ebb and flow. I know mine does, even at my level. There are a lot of factors that go into a player's game, right? And whether they're winning is not even really up to them a lot of the time, especially in a one-on-one sport like tennis. You can play your game, but there are a lot of other factors at work. So anyway, a lot of the attention on this with her is likely just the press doing what they do. But still, it does bring up the question of pressure and how it affects our performance. And pressure is a very interesting thing to think about as an athlete. On the one hand, it feels absolutely real. There's no question that some situations, some moments, some games are more important than others, more high pressure. And we feel that pressure in our body. It's an absolutely real factor we have to deal with. On the other hand, it's also 100% vapor. There's nothing really there. Think about this. Think about Iga playing a match. It's her serve. What does she need to do to win this point? What are the specific skills and strategies and techniques she'll need to execute to win? We can't say exactly, right? But we can say there are specific practical things she needs to do. If she does them, she'll win the point. If she doesn't, she probably won't. So next question, how do those things change in a first-round match versus a final? Or for that matter, in a practice session versus the final? They don't change at all, right? There's literally no difference from the lowest pressure moment to the highest in what actually needs to be done to win that point, that game, that match. The only thing that changes between those different situations is what's going on in our head. It's the stories attached to the moment. It's all the things we tell ourselves that make one match more important than the other. Do you see that? Do you see how profound that is? This tells us that pressure is not actually real. It feels like it, but it's not a tangible, external, physical thing that we have to overcome. It's just our thoughts and emotions. And this means if we can learn to control our thoughts and emotions, we can become immune to pressure. We can play our same game and execute our strategy no matter what situation we're in. That's the first big lesson in Iga's story. Pressure isn't actually real. It's literally all in our heads. The second lesson is, this is why we need to learn the core mental game skill I talk about all the time, which is cognitive control. Cognitive control means you can direct your thoughts and attention rather than letting them jump around like they tend to do and control you. So when your big brain starts bringing up all those pressure thoughts, the reasons, this is a really big deal. What are people going to think if you lose this one? What amazing things will happen if we win? All that stuff. When your brain starts bringing that up, you can just say, nope, not helpful, not now, and shut it down. So you can stay present and focused on what you need to do to win. That's cognitive control in action. It's an actual skill you can learn and practice and strengthen. When you know how to do that, you gain an incredible amount of control over your game in high-pressure situations. And if you can't do that, you will never have the kind of self-control you need to reach your full potential. Now, I'm not saying you're going to get to a point where you literally feel no pressure, no matter what, just constant chill, nothing affects you. A huge part of pressure shows up in our body. We feel it, we're nervous, our heart's racing, our breathing is fast, we're sweating, we're thrown up in the locker room before the match. It happens, right? Not much cognitive control can do about that. You just need to learn to push through it, make the best of it, try to make use of that energy if possible. But you absolutely can learn to keep the pressure from being a bigger thing than it needs to be and hurting your game. But only if you learn this specific mental skill, cognitive control. I make a point of this because there's a lot of mental game coaching out there, and it doesn't teach it, right? There are all kinds of places you can find help of one kind or another, and genuine help. But to my knowledge, none of them teach this specific skill, at least not in any kind of practical way that you can put into action. So even if you are working with some other coach or program, I still strongly recommend you also take our Raise Your Game Sports Academy training. It doesn't have to be one or the other. It's easy to have ours complement whatever else you're doing. But again, this is the key to getting control over your thoughts and emotions right in the moment when you need them, and get control over pressure and keeping it from hurting your game the way it so frequently does. So head over to raiseyourgame.com, click on the option that matches your age, U13, 14, 17, 18 plus, and check that out. Anyway, those are the big lessons from Iga Swiatek this week. Pressure, though it feels real, is actually all in our thoughts. If we can develop that mental game skill, cognitive control, we can make a huge improvement in our game. We can basically become pressure-proof. And just imagine the difference that would make for you. All right, I hope that was helpful. Let me know any questions. Otherwise, keep up the good work. I'm out of town next week, but back after that, so I will see you then.